Hello again, I'm here with Nia Hill, the writer, producer and cast member of Grimsby Girl, a comedy short here at the festival. Nia, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Romford Film Festival. Thanks for coming. Can you tell me briefly what Grimsby Girl is about?
Sure. So it's a dark comedy spoof of the Kill Bill films. It's about a young woman from Grimsby who takes on an alter ego at night time, and she basically seeks revenge on anybody who disses her for being a northerner. So it's kind of like about the north-south divide. And so she takes on this alter ego, and she sort of just, she kills people with a Grimsby themed weapon.
Yeah. Are we not disclosing what the weapon is?
Not at this stage.
No, that's fine. No, that's great. It's a very unique weapon, yeah. Where did your inspiration come from writing the story?
So I wrote it actually 2 or 3 years after the Kill Bill films came out, which I absolutely loved.
Right.
And was very inspired by. And it was also born out of, probably 10 to 15 years of being dissed as a northerner and from Grimsby whilst living in London.
Yep.
So it just came to me one morning. I thought, wouldn't it be really great if I could take on this alter ego like she does in the Kill Bill films, and and sort of just revenge upon people for saying the things that they say and doing the things that they do.
Yeah. One of the selection team, he's from the northeast, right on the border actually between England and Scotland.
Oh yeah.
And he really got a kick out of this film.
Did he? Oh, brilliant.
It really spoke to him. He was like, yes, I understand exactly where this is coming from.
Yeah.
I've had so much of this.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Because it actually happens even now, and a lot of northerners experience that in London and in the south. And I felt very vindicated when we were auditioning for the lead role, for actresses for the lead role, because a lot of them came into the audition room and they were saying, I get this all the time, I'm told to sort of tone my accent down on the phone at work, or, not speak with a northern accent. I was like, and this was sort of like 12 to 13 years after I'd written the script, so I was like, oh my God, so it's still happening. Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about how you found your director, Hannah. How did that process go?
Yeah, that was, again, so I was working with her. We were in between kind of creative jobs at the time. We were temping together. And this was a few years back, so it was shortly after I'd written the script. And I told her about the script, and she really loved the idea back then. And then we both kind of got busy with life and other things, and it went on the back burner for a while. So then when I'm a member of a group called the Actor Screen Collective, and we decided to, many years later, to produce the film. I turned to Anna because she was very, very interested in the script, a few years back, and I asked her, and she was absolutely, thrilled to be asked, and was very happy to direct it.
You mentioned there, and we spoke earlier, but you actually are an actor by trade.
Yes.
Which is this your first film you've produced?
It's the second film I've co-produced actually.
Okay.
So the first film was a short film called Mushroom Soup. So this is the first film that I've it's on a bigger scale, so to speak. It's doing the festival circuit and things like that.
Are your plans to still do both acting and producing, or have you got a bug for producing now?
I did actually really love the producing side of it as well, but I absolutely love acting. So I love making short films, and we've got a great team at the Actor Screen Collective with the other producers there, Camilla Laxton and Gertrude Toma. And I think we'll definitely be working on some future projects together.
Great. What were some of the challenges you had on Grimsby Girl?
Finding replica fish that actually looked real. that was a tricky one.
That's the unique weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the unique weapon. Gave that one away, didn't I? Finding locations was obviously, quite interesting, but I ended up finding this amazing kind of derelict warehouse in Grimsby, which had been a former brewery. It was a big old red brick Victorian building, and it was in a very sorry state, and I had to go and sort of sweep it, beforehand, which was really gross. But it was fantastic. It was an amazing location for a warehouse where Kelly goes back to buy the weapons at the beginning of the film. So yeah, it was very atmospheric.
So as a producer, funding, I guess that was down to yourself, or obviously you had a
It was down
role?
to our group, the Actor Screen Collective.
Okay,
Yeah, so it
right.
was a real kind of amalgamation of resources. We used Indiegogo, the crowdfunding website, and I also went knocking on doors in Grimsby as well. I kind of emailed a lot of people
Right.
and spoke to a lot of people, and I was incredibly lucky to meet somebody called Louise Kuhlbeck, who has her and her husband, they have a salmon, like a fish production company on Grimsby Docks called JCS Fish, and she loved the idea, being from Grimsby, and also having the same experiences when she comes down to London.
Sure.
So she loved the idea, and she very kindly sponsored the film as well. So
Right.
yeah.
Are you showing the film at other festivals? What's your plan for the film?
It's been doing really well on the film festival circuit. We're absolutely thrilled. It's been accepted into lots of film festivals. It's won lots of awards, both in the UK and internationally, at Idlewild Film Festival and at the World Fest Houston. It's doing
interesting,
really well.
because I would think personally it's a very British
Very
story,
British,
right? The North
yeah.
South divide, as you said. I'm delighted that it has been well received and interpreted abroad. That's really interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were so surprised. We did, again, it's down to Rebecca Louise Smith, the Film Festival Doctor, who recommended these festivals.
Right.
And
Okay.
we wouldn't have thought of submitting them to American festivals because we wouldn't have thought it would have translated onto the American market, but surprisingly it
That's
did.
really
And I think it comes down to kind of small town girl, woman, versus big city, that kind of cultural divide there, which is quite universal really, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it can be
So-
translated into
Can be
different
translated,
countries,
yeah.
and
Yeah, so they got it, which was really exciting.
that's great. What's next for you as an actress or a producer?
So we're working at the Actor Screen Collective. We are working on some scripts at the moment, both short films and TV dramas. And yeah, we're sort of working on the scripts. And when all this kind of coronavirus situation is in the past, then we will start working on those and going into pre-production on those.
Would you say that's the biggest challenge at the moment in the industry? I guess obviously
Yeah,
the
I think
pandemic
so.
is the biggest elephant in the room, isn't it, for everyone?
Yeah, I think so. But I think at the same time, people are being incredibly creative. I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of using the time to, to recalibrate and to refocus, and really working hard on lots of creative projects as well. So I'm sure it's all going to come back with a passion, eventually. So
Yeah, let's hope so. Nia Hill, thank you very much for joining
thank you.
me.
Thanks very much for inviting us, and thanks for accepting the film to
Thank you.
Romford Film Festival.